Hey everyone, I'm Eric Brown and welcome to Table Touches, where we discuss the business of food. I have my guest today, Chef Joe Rodrigues. So, Joe, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you very much for having me, Mr. Eric.
Yeah, no, of course. Joe is the co founder of the Culinary Executive Mastermind, and together, along with Chef Christian Fisher, we're also working on the Business Growth Academy. And, we've had a lot of the great conversations recently about what's going on in the industry, how businesses are coming back and thriving, some keys to success. And I brought Joe on here to basically have a conversation about what's working, what businesses can do to future proof their business long term, and just talk about just share a few nuggets of wisdom with us. So, Joe, I'd love to have you just introduce a little bit about your background. You're not just some guy that I pulled off the street. You actually have several years of experience in the field, and I'd love to learn more about you.
I'll started way back when I was 16. I worked for a pizza parlor, believe it or not. And the guy had six pizza parlors. So that's where I learned at an early age what franchising was. And then it took me to culinary school. And then through culinary school, I did an apprenticeship under a world renowned chef. And then I went into hotels, and I was in hotels for probably 7 years. Then I went into fine dining, and from fine dining, I went into the corporate world, which was business dining, and worked for the largest food service company at its time. And I became a corporate executive chef. And then from there, I found myself in entrepreneurship. So for the last 33 years, I've been doing entrepreneurship.
Wow, that's quite a lot. And tell me, so you've had a lot of different experience, a lot of different types of experience. But I imagine there's some common threads in terms of what made those businesses that you've worked for successful, or maybe some challenges along the way that you've experienced.
I got to admit that all through my career, I was surrounded by successful business chefs, business people, and just really, really good attitude workers. And I think that carried the whole career. So, that combination is definitely a winning combination. And I've taken it all the way. My first president, I still stay in touch with. My first business partner, I still stay in touch with. So I think it's the strong networking, such as what you're doing here for the industry, is fantastic. And that's part of the secret sauce.
Totally right. The circle that you connect with, the people that you're able to help, and they're able to help you. It's a tightly knit community, and yet, there even with that, there are a lot of challenges, right? So, when you've had some recent conversations, like, do you have any, scenarios that you could share with us about, any turnarounds or any businesses that are looking at the openings that are happening right now and saying like, hey, how do I tackle this, or any sort of keys to success that you've been able to share with your clients and people that you work with?
Definitely one of our clients, within the first 2 hours of the pandemic, when we were shut, I got a phone call and said, "What the heck's going on? They shut my doors." And I said, we're all scrambling. We're trying to find out what's happening, going to the resources of news. But I had said within the third hour of that day, let's make a plan. And coming out of the pandemic, here it is a year and something later, they're probably at 34% better than they were doing before the pandemic hit, because they made a plan, they acted on it, we reinvented ourselves all through COVID. And I think at the end of the day, they put the customer first, and they came out on top. But the 33% also has to do with an increase. This is a restaurant. It's an increase of tabletop. So they were table expanded by 25%. Their to-go business, they expanded that. And with that combination, they're about 33% better than they were before the pandemic. So
So
it's
what
a
I'm
proven fact to me that this is a really bad thing that happened. but there's definitely a lot of good that can come out of it as long as you pay attention and you keep trying things.
So what I'm hearing there is don't panic. Every business has a set of assets and resources that they can call upon, including advisors like yourself. And you looked at what they had and they made some changes and their business is thriving right now.
Absolutely. And there's a little something I didn't share with you. I also been running with the Navy, with the Pentagon for the last 27 years. And within the first few hours of the pandemic, it's a joke now. It wasn't a joke then. I can laugh about it now. But we literally took our office at home and I turned it into what we call a war room. We had papers up on the wall. We had news stations showing, and we were just, my wife and I were going round and round answering phones and putting people on hold and trying to get the latest. So that's how you have to react. But the answer to that is not just react, you have to take action on it.
Right.
And I think that's what pulled everybody through with our team and our associates.
And you have an amazing team and a variety of different skill sets, different backgrounds. But I can imagine an owner or any sort of business person or even employees in this time period have felt stuck, right? Like they're like, oh my God, the world is not what I imagined when I woke up yesterday. Everything's different, right? And so we're talking about last year. Things are still different, right? Because even if you're reopening, you're not going back to the way things were. So what's that conversation? What's that mindset that someone has to have? What should they be thinking through so that they can open up successfully?
It's definitely a mindset. Everybody gets in their little ruts. This is the way we used to do it. That's what I hear all the time. And the most successful companies that do make it through pandemics like this or even economic crunches, they have to adjust with the times. They have to, see that reinventing, coming out with it. It's a good, solid energy. And I guess I look at it very positively. I look at it as it's not a negative, it's a positive. As you've heard me say several times before, we have a chance to reset the button, do a grand opening, restart ourselves. We can adjust our menu, we can adjust our look on the place. We just have a new opportunity when we open the doors to the world, and within a couple of weeks, I believe the whole world will open up.
And that's really interesting, right? Because you think about, I mean, look, life gets in the way. You
Yep.
open up your restaurant, you're busy. I get it, right? So it's hard to imagine that every day could be an opportunity to think about your business as the grand opening, right? But that probably comes down to culture, I imagine, too, and just a different way of looking at your business. I've definitely walked into restaurants where you open the door and you see that definitely no one's cleaned that glass pane in about 2 hours, if at all. One of the first places that I check actually when I go into a restaurant is I'll go wash my hands, but I also want to see, like, has that bathroom that no one may see, right? It's not necessarily in front of you. Has it been checked? I just kind of want to know what I've gotten myself into, and the first impressions and other impressions you have throughout your experience matter, right? So how should people be looking at that, like that customer experience, that guest experience, the entire process?
You know, it's a combination. I'm going to overlap with what we just said.
Yeah.
It is a mindset, but that mindset has to be a positive attitude. And everybody says, oh, well, a positive attitude's not going to, I wish I had customers. I wish I had customers. I wish I had. That's not going to work. It is true. But having a good attitude will help the whole process. That one customer that does walk through, I don't like to say the word customer. I like to say friends, my cousin. Oh, look, there's Auntie. And if we look at those people like that, now, I'm going to ask you that question. When your aunt walks through the door, how do you greet her?
You're right.
You don't put your eyes to the ground and go, Well, somebody else can go answer the door.
Absolutely not. No. There's a totally different way of looking at that relationship, right? And I can imagine, yeah, if you bring that to any sort of guest experience, I mean that, well, no one else is doing it. I can tell you that, right? I mean, it's not common. There are some
Yep.
people, some
And
gems out there, and they're doing great, right? I mean, yeah,
yeah. And the other thing I keep on saying, hit the reset button, start over, grand opening, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I had a catering company, and my catering company, we always started off at day zero. Every day we were unemployed. Every day, we would do a party last night. That party ended at 10 o'clock. Done. Goodbye. Next one. So I guess my attitude is that way, and I carry it over for restaurants. I carry it over for business dining. I carry it over for everything. Every day is a grand opening, and I guarantee you, you look at a restaurant on grand opening day, and then 6 years later, you're absolutely right. And where the hell's even the owner? You know, I mean, he sure was there at the grand opening, shaking hands,
yeah.
kissing babies. The mayor was there. I just got invited to a grand opening, and it was a VIP list.
hmm
I'm surprised I made it on the VIP list.
Oh, come on, you're probably on every list.
And yet, here it is. But this particular client I'm talking about, it's a second generation. They own about 27 restaurants, and that's why they're successful. Every day is a grand opening. Every person's a VIP.
So there's a subtle but important thing that you just mentioned there, right? So they have 27 locations. So clearly, the owner's not at every single one of those locations kissing babies. There's something there, though, that makes it magical and that does lead to success, right? So what are they instilling in their staff? What's that training look like?
It's okay. Here it is. Everybody, go get your pen and paper. You clone yourself. You
Yeah,
have
okay.
like-minded people. That manager, I've hired hundreds of managers. My manager, my first manager, is still with my organization.
Oh,
You
really?
know,
Wow.
and so the thing is, you clone yourself. You have to. I mean, that's why partly they're going to the restaurant. It's that personality. Let's just take a dry cleaners. We won't take a restaurant. We won't pick on it. Which one will you go to? They both charge you $5 for a shirt to dry clean. One says, "Eric, how you doing today? How's the babies?" The other one says, "Ticket, please." Which one are you going to go to?
Unfortunately, I've been going to the ticket please. I've been looking for the one that says, "Hey, Eric, how's the baby?" But because it is not
They
common,
should be
is not
taking
common.
our program then.
They should totally, totally, right? So I don't want to be insensitive with this question, but I'm going to ask another thing that I
Yeah.
hear, right? So, things as we come out of a challenging time, one thing I hear is like people probably say to you, "Joe, you don't understand. Prices are higher. I can't find good staff. I mean, I just don't know. I don't know where to begin." So we've talked about some of this, but sort of to summarize again, how to approach some of these challenges or what you would tell somebody in that situation.
It's all about the culture you build within your organization, whether it's a restaurant, business dining, catering company, private chef. It's the culture you build within yourself, and then the workers will actually go find workers. Okay, and yes, we know it's tough times. We're not going to go too knee deep into it, but to answer your question, it's the culture. And when you build good culture, you will have followings. The I just talked to a very, very successful company that sold themselves. And I would ask that same question. Do you think the new owners are capable of what you're doing? And what's the secret sauce? There's, believe it or not, I got a different answer. It wasn't the customer, it was their vendors where they put all their success to, because they were like the
Interesting.
middleman.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, they said, we treated our vendors like my brother, like my sister, like my aunt. And I drew back going, holy smokes, has he been listening to RCC?
Well,
But the concept was the same. He treated the vendors good. Those vendors actually got him more business as I dug a little bit deeper. So it's the culture of the company, and when you have a healthy culture, yes, I was scrambling through the pandemic. So before everybody thinks everybody was a superstar, no, but it took some effort. But we kept for who we are and who we were, and that's what got us through it, and that's what's taking us to the next level. I just got a text, and they're like, "Okay, so what are we doing next?" So the culture itself is carrying us away. Hey, got this great idea. What about this? They're the ones also contributing. It's not a dictation from the owners down or the general managers down. It doesn't matter.
So this is something where like you're talking about a business like in scale where it's not just falling on one person's shoulders. And my guess is that that business owner or owners, if it's a partnership, right, they're actually probably able to even go on vacation, right? Because they've been able to pass all this stuff down to like-minded people that share their vision, their mission, and what they're all about. They share the same values. I mean,
And,
that's incredible.
and you have to implement the systems. Without the
Right.
systems, you're absolutely. I don't care what kind of great idea you have. You look like a chicken running without its head on. So 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 implementing good people, implementing great system, combination pays off, more profit, less stress, more employees. People want to work for you. They see that culture. And it's like a magnet. It will get around and people want to be in that
Right.
environment.
Well,
I'm very proud to say, for the length of our business, we still have some of the same original employees. I'm very proud. I don't try to hold my employees, I try to move them on. And I've got even one chef that worked for me, and I won't do it out of the privacy of the chef. And also, but he's on TV. My chef that trained under me, and I moved him up. He is now on TV and does work for a celebrity chef.
that's great. Wow. I mean, actually promoting people within, showing them
Absolutely,
a path to
absolutely. And guess
grow.
what?
Yeah.
To today, they keep referring business back to us.
Hmm.
We have a great relationship. I lost nothing. I gained from moving the people on.
So I mean, a lot of light bulbs went off in my head. I imagine anyone watching this, there are a lot of amazing nuggets that you've been sharing with us. One thing that I like to ask, and I'll ask this as like a last
Yeah,
question, I guess, is so someone may be watching this that's saying, "Hey, I want to open up a restaurant." We know a lot of those types, right? I mean,
yeah,
you're a good cook, you've got a good idea, you make an awesome sauce, whatever it is, or maybe you got some money that's burning a hole in your pocket, and you say, "I
right.
want to open up a restaurant because I would like going out to eat." Whatever it is, and in all seriousness, what do you tell somebody coming into the industry who, I mean, there's a lot already to learn from this conversation, but coming into the industry, what should they know? What should they be thinking about? Maybe top three things that, you can have somebody start thinking about before they even consider getting into the business.
Absolutely mirror what you're about to do. Whether you're going into a private chef, try to, if it's not too late, research we'll just pick on a private chef. Be part of a private chef, get to know, mentor a group that resembles or is in direct communication with the private chefs. And then last but not least, okay, understand the business. And if you don't, you need to do things like be surrounded by people that can feed you the proper information.
Definitely. Network again. So a lot of these, yeah, a lot of common things it seems like just keep coming up and the keys to success here. So I appreciate you sharing this with us. Thanks for your time. I know you've got a million things on your schedule.
Yep.
So I look forward to future conversations and the things that we're working on too. So we'll keep talking about that later
I
offline.
really appreciate you having me, and this has been really fun. I just really enjoy this, and thank you for letting me share the knowledge with my colleagues.
Definitely. All right. Take care, Joe. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.